What's happening these days? What's happening these days? This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. What's happening these days? Tell me in your words, in your thinking, in your looks. Take your vision and look out the window. Take your vision, go down, sit on the sidewalk, any city, any town, anywhere, wherever you live. Take a Bible with you and go sit in a restaurant, open a Bible and read it. Do it. I challenge you to do that. I challenge you today to get out here and see what you're living in, where you're living. See how you will be disdained. If you stand for God, you are going to be disdained. People are going to come. Hey, we're within inches, just inches, right now, of being people that will be stoned to death for having a Bible. We're just inches from where they may do a house raid and they want to disarm the public, but they also want to disarm the Christian from having the Bible. But they will never disarm the Christian from having the Bible, because the Bible can be in a man's heart. If a man will put it in his heart, God will give it to him and he'll have it in his heart. The Word cannot be extinguished, never could be and never will be. There have been many who have tried it. Read the history and you'll find out. Now we're talking about the I will nots. Back in chapter 42 of Jeremiah, they said, I will not follow your words, Jeremiah. I am going to follow the ways of the world and the things of the world. Now, there are 14 things. There are the third prophecy in Egypt is the desolation of Judah. Now, you know, it's something how God wrote this about them before it happened and gave them a vision of how it would be. They had already seen famines. They had already seen pestilence. They had already seen everything that was going to be seen by these people had already been seen several times before. It's like a guy looks in the prison and he walks down the prison halls and says, sir, what are you in here for? And he says, I'm in here for murder. And he says to the next guy, what are you in here for? And he said, I'm in here for breaking into somebody's house. And he goes to the next one. He said, what are you in here for? He said, I'm in here for drunk driving. He goes to the next one. He said, what are you in here for? He said, I'm in here because I wouldn't support my family, or I was a derelict, and this and that. And he goes down there and he goes door after door after door after door. And all these people say all these things. He leaves the prison house. 2 years later, somebody else is walking down the corridor, and they say to this man, and they come to that guy that was in there a couple years before and say, what in the world are you doing in here? And he said, well, I did this or I did that. He followed the way of the world, and he's right in that same row. Even though he saw all those people in there, he went out and tried to do the same thing that they were doing. It's a funny thing. I had a young man that was in prison tell me something. He said to me, he said, you know, I've learned how to do these things now and not get in jail. I said, who taught you that? He said, I learned it in prison. The guys teaching him, the guys that got caught, and they're teaching him how to do it without getting caught. It didn't work for them, and it ain't going to work for him. You cannot continually break the rules and not get caught up. One day, you'll be caught up with. Now, Bible rules are the same. You are to live by the holy word of God, the Bible. This is the Holy Bible. This is the Word of God. This is one of my new Bibles. It's a leather-bound, nice Bible. This, if you please, is about 3 cartons of cigarettes, if you please, and it has enough in it to, at the price of 3 cartons of cigarettes, this one book right here could win, direct, and guide the rest of the world to heaven forever. One book, $100. Guide the world to heaven, the whole world, forever. $100. $100 worth of cigarettes. I picked up a carton from my boy the other day, as much as I hate him. If that's what a man's chosen to do, far be it from me. If the only resolve he's going to have in life is a few smokes here on the earth, and that is his contentment and his peace and his joy. He thinks it is, but it ain't, because they're gods, and every time that little white god hollers, you got to go. That little old white god holler, man, you scream, you got to go. And you go get that thing and light it up, and it just brings on more misery. You say, yeah, but I need it to be satisfied. But you know what? It don't satisfy you but about 10 minutes or less. Because in less than 10 minutes, you're going to have another one in your hand do the same thing. And in 10 more minutes, you're going to have another one in your hand do the same thing. And then come payday, when you can't buy groceries, can't feed your kids, can't put gas in the car and everything, you go down the store and you say, I have got to have a pack of cigarettes. You rape, scrape, dig, bag, borrow, reach around in the seat of the car, find the change, go home, get in the seat of the couch, the seat of the chair, go through the drawers, dig out the cabinets, dump the drawers out. And somebody says, what in the world are you doing? You say, I'm hunting up pennies. I've got to have a cigarette. What happened? You got a little bitty white god ruling your whole life and ruining your life. Not only your life, ruining the life around you. What is the name of this excerpt? It's heaping up these days. What are we heaping up? What are we heaping up these days? Are we heaping up eternal value, or are we heaping up something else? Anyway, I was going to tell you, the man said to me, we can't charge cigarettes on the account, Peter. It's not legal. Well, I said, write them down as coffin nails, because that's what they are. Write down coffin nails. And that's what they are. They're just something to nail your coffin shut quicker and worse. Hey, I don't want to hype on this subject, but we buried a brother not too long ago. He smoked himself to death. Died a miserable, ugly death. Ugly. Emphysema and all that. And still lighting them little things up too. The day he was going away, still lighting them up. Light him up with the oxygen they're pumping in his nose and light up one of them things. Hey, listen. It's not a good thing. Even if you weren't following the Lord. All right, let's get in the book. Let's get back in the book. I get carried away and chase a rabbit for 6 minutes and threw away 6 minutes of God's time on the very God of this world that I hate being in between me and the people that I deal with, that I have a hard time with. I won a man to the Lord just a little while ago, and I'm trying to get him out of some holes that he's in. And while I'm talking to him, he lights one behind the other. I can be at his house a half hour. He's going to burn 6 or 7 cigarettes. One behind the other. One behind the other. Man, I'm praying God will deliver him from that. And until he is delivered, there's probably not going to be a financial remedy for him, because he throws his money down the rat hole. All right, here we are, gone I'll have to get the next excerpt and put the same heading